Hi everybody. Today is Thursday, February 20th. Well, not sure what happened there. Today is Thursday, February 20th. Facebook Live, Tri-State Live on Facebook. As people get on here, do me a favor, just kind of let me know that you're here, so make sure everything is working here. But we'll give it a minute or two as we get going here. And let me get rid of the tips and stuff here. And as people are getting on, I'll just kind of comment. I was on a podcast not too long ago, and I realized I have like filler phrases, a lot of them. And I just use one. And you kind of realize that. Listen, I'm not a professional broadcaster. I'm not a, this isn't something that I do every day. But you try to be somewhat proficient at it. I used to do a lot of public speaking and try to use some of those public speaking skills, but you get a little more casual perhaps on video or whatever. So I need to come up with something that each time, one of the phrases I think I used was type of thing. And so if I use type of thing, as a filler phrase, here, just call me out on it, and you guys can help me, improve here. But let's go with the safety message. Of course, if you're driving, please do not continue to watch this. Turn it off, and be DOT compliant. I do a lot of interstate driving, and I cannot believe the amount of drivers that I see holding their cell phone on the steering wheel, watching a movie, I think, or streaming whatever they're streaming. So it's yeah, don't do it. And so certainly I hope that our drivers, are a grade above there. So hi Chase, thanks for that. Yeah, that caution. If anyone has any issues hearing or anything like that, please let me know here. Otherwise, as drivers come on, please send in questions and comments that you'd like to talk about. This is going to be probably a fairly lengthy one, so Chase may need to do some chopping and editing to make it palatable. But Chase is on. I see him, so thanks Chase for your support. Any information that you'd like, email addresses, telephone numbers, that kind of stuff, then Chase can help support us on that. So and JD's on too. So okay, we'll just go ahead and get a jump in here. I'm going to start out with some safety things here. Marciano, 918. Okay, thanks, Marciano, and thanks for confirming that you're the sitting passenger. Although, and this is an interesting thing, Marciano, maybe give us safety. I think there's a limited amount of times that you're allowed to be in the passenger seat, actually, while the truck is rolling down the road off duty. That's an interesting, that may be something you want to check out, because I think when you're off duty, you really should be in the sleeper berth. So that, confirm with safety on that. In fact, I'll confirm with safety and send out a message on that. But I recall reading something about that. So that's an interesting question, Marciano, there. But thanks for joining us here. I want to start out with some safety messages. First, speed. We've got to get speed under control. We hate to say that we have a zero tolerance for certain speed violations, but if you're over 10 miles per hour, you're going to be pushing our zero tolerance policy on that. Certainly, 15 miles per hour is going to be a real problem, and we're just not going to be able to handle that very well. Listen, I see some 5 mile per hour speed limits in construction, and those can be real frustrating. It's be careful, be aware of your speed. Speed is affects so many of our CSA scores. And we have CSA scores, our ISS. For those of you who don't know what ISS score is, the ISS score, and I don't remember what it stands for. I think Maureen is on here. She might be able to tell us what ISS stands for. But what basically that means, that score determines on how often our trucks have to go into a state border weigh station. And I will tell you, most trucking companies are 60, 70, I've seen 80, 90, ISS scores, meaning they're going to get pulled into way stations constantly. It's hazmat trucks, tend to get inspected, more often, and obviously we're hazmat trucks. But Tri-State, by and large, is around 27 ISS, which is phenomenal. ATCO is right there. SJ, I mean, they do some tough terrain. In the Northeast. They may have some volatility, but they're generally in the low 30s. So our ISS scores are generally pretty good. But when you see that you get pulled into way stations more, that probably means because our ISS is climbing, and our ISS scores are speed, crash indicators, all of those kind of things. So if you don't want to be in way stations, do better on our speeds and avoiding those violations and that kind of stuff. So yeah, Maureen, thanks. And ISS inspection selection system there. So our ISS scores are good. I mean, it's once in a while it'll skyrocket, and we're like, what the heck's going on? Because we know it's going to impact the drivers, and obviously the more times you get pulled in for inspection, the more risk you have of getting a violation. So it's super important that we monitor our speed and watch our speed so we don't, get pulled into more, inspections and way stations. And it can often turn into kind of a vicious circle there, right? I mean, the more inspections, obviously, the more violations, et cetera, et cetera. So the less inspections and way stations that we have to pull into, the better. Speaking of that, however, we've got to follow the signs for the way stations. I mean, a lot of we have the pre-pass, we have all the technology, that when we can bypass the way stations, you're allowed to do so. But when in doubt, you got to pull into the way station. We've had a couple of instances here where we bypass the way station that we weren't allowed to, and that causes huge problems. And the drivers that went through that will tell you it's not worth it, man. I mean, it's if in doubt, go in. If you bypass a way station that you're not supposed to, I mean, that inspection is going to be hard and vigorous. I mean, they're going to go get you because they're assuming that you're doing something that's trying to hide something, there. The one in particular that we need to be aware of is when you're in upstate New York on the way to Plattsburgh. That's not a pre-pass, way station. I don't remember what road that is there. So you got to follow the signs. You got to pay attention to what's going on there, and make sure we don't blow through those way stations. So Ray Parker, hey there. So Ray Parker, just so everybody knows, has been with us, I don't know, 17, 18 years, right? And he was a big part of our securement and flatbed training, but he's recently made the decision to go back over the road, full time. So we don't see Ray as much as we used to, but good to see you on here, Ray. Thanks for joining us here. So speed, way stations. I mean, it's again, our ISS scores are really strong. You want to keep them strong, and those are the things that each of us individually and collectively, it makes an impact, there. So I do want to thank everybody. I mean, the winter weather has been pretty brutal. I'm in Joplin, Missouri right now, and I think it's -5. When I got up, the dog hates this kind of cold weather. There's a Arizona dog. Listen, there's a lot of issues with trucks and gelling fuel, at this kind of temperature, and you guys are all faced with that. I was in a meeting with Wade earlier in breakdown. I mean, it's they're managing, they're handling it. There's only so much we can do. There's a lot of issues out there, but be safe. If you get in a situation where your truck is in a difficult situation and the road crews can't get to you, let us know, and we'll send the state troopers or whatever to get you out of the truck. My hotel was right in front of I-44 the other day, and I saw tons of trucks just lined up on the off ramps and on ramps, and in this kind of cold, it's dangerous, of course, and let us know. Make sure your cell phone is charged. Make sure that you have all the adequate things or whatever. And if you get into a real jam, let us know, and we'll certainly figure out how to get some emergency services out to you there. So aside from that, I really want to give kudos to all of our drivers on accidents. I mean, it's we've had a few. Of course, our fleet our size, we're going to, but the numbers of them is not as bad as they often are in the winter. So thank you for, your vigilance and avoiding, those incidents. With that being said, though, we have seen a lot of increase of little dings and minor issues, just at shippers, and we've, I don't know, paid for a fence not too long ago, and I mean, it's pulling out of a weigh station, or I'm sorry, a scale. Recently it took the turn to. I mean, I know it's cold. I know it's difficult to get in and out of the truck when it's icy and snowy conditions, but we still got to get out and look. I mean, the goal is still goal. We're professional drivers, and we have a standard that that we need to uphold. So dings and minor issues have increased, and I think a lot of that just has to do with not wanting to get out, and when it's uncomfortable like that. The other thing is make sure that your mirrors are cleared. I mean, I noticed driving my truck in, which by the way wouldn't start yesterday, so I understand the challenges some of you guys have there. I have a diesel truck, and it gelled up there, but if you have frost and ice on the mirrors, then it's hard to see all the range you're supposed to as well. So we just gotta do those things, especially during your DVIRs. Just make sure that it's done there. So anyway, but yeah, thank you for avoiding the big roadway accidents, but we do need some improvement on the minor issues. Okay. See, I almost said type of thing, and I didn't. So I want to talk about distracted driving. Guys, we got to avoid it. Like I said, when driving here from into Joplin, I cannot believe the amount of drivers that I saw holding their cell phones, and it looks like they're watching movies. We know the law. We know the DOT regulations. I would tell you that is very low tolerance, zero tolerance, type situation. We do not want to have inward facing cameras, but, we don't want to lose drivers, either. But, it's, if there's, any hint of distracted driving because you're on your cell phones, that kind of stuff, I mean, it's going to be a termination, or, depending on the situation, maybe a, turn on the inward, dash cam, but I'm not a fan of that, and so termination obviously is kind of the next step on that. So there are some states, and if you look at the regulation, I think it's something like 160 days of loss of CDL is one of the potential penalties. I'm hearing more about certain areas going to first strike, loss of CDL, 72 hours, that kind of stuff. Listen, that's going to have a huge impact on you guys. I mean, it's and so we've got to reduce the distracted driving. We lost a long time owner operator, not too long ago, because they're involved in an incident, with the cell phone. We just cannot do it. I don't know how else to say that. But I'm just asking to be aware of your career and to aware of the safety of others, and just eliminate that cell phone distracted driving. The final safety comment that I want to talk about is, listen, it's things are going to happen. We know they are. I mean, it's it's many of you have decades on the road. I don't care if it's 6 months or 25 years. You're gonna have a bad day. You're gonna have a bad incident. I've been working 35 years or whatever. I mean, it's I do a good job most days, but some days I have a bad day, and some days I just kind of mess things up. And of course you guys are going to, as well as drivers, there. Here's the thing, though. You got to be honest about it. You got to be upfront about it. We have had some recent, situations where, there weren't fireable offenses. We have to talk about it. We have to coach it through, or we have to, get information. But when we know that we're not getting accurate and truthful information, then it rises to a fireable offense. And so, I promise you, we're on your side. I mean, I promise you that we want to, save our working relationship. But when there's an incident, when there's an accident, whenever there's a bad moment there, we've got to have all the facts and information. And if we can't rely on our coworkers, if we can't rely on our tri-state peers to get that information, then it's really difficult, to continue that professional, relationship there. So that's my, request, I mean, you're gonna have a bad day, you're gonna have a bad moment. We just got to own it, and then, we'll help you navigate it, the best we can. Unfortunately, the way, just the job description and everything. Obviously, certain things are, just zero tolerance, but. There's a safety incident years ago that I really grateful and applauded Donnie's wisdom in. And we had a long-term driver that just got into a really tough situation with wind and so forth, and got into a rollover there. And fortunately, everybody was safe. Everybody came out of it fine, but in a normal situation, that's just we have to terminate the drivers. But we looked at the situation, we got all the facts, we understood the history of the driver and everything, and that's not a route that we went to, and they remain great drivers for us. So we try really hard to make sure we look and evaluate every situation and really what's going on, but we have to have honest and factual information, and you're the boots on the ground, and so we rely on you for that information. So that is my strong request to you as well. Okay, moving on. HR and driver payroll, if you need to get a hold of them, our main line, we've added driver payroll option number 8, hashtag number 8 or pound 8, whatever the kids say these days. So we do have a driver payroll option again, that's pound 8. I want to talk, and again, if you questions, comments, go ahead and send them in. Happy to talk about, whatever it is that, that's on your mind. And if I've said something that's like, hey, Mike, that's not fair. I mean, that's not, whatever. Put it on here. Let's talk about it. Okay. I mean, it's, for those of you who've watched a few of this, I hope you know that I won't avoid it. And if you have a disagreement, thought, or a perspective that I'm not, really weighing out there, please put it in the comments or questions here. So, okay, I want to talk about 2025. I mean, we're February 2025. What's going on here? What do we think we see? And listen, December was a phenomenal month, and ended the year, really strong. There's some reasons for that, and those are kind of one-off reasons. Otherwise, 2024 was a struggle. I mean, we did fine. I mean, it's we were double-digit OR. I mean, we were fine, but it wasn't to the standards of efficiency and productivity that we're used to. I do not regret it. I think we did the right thing, but one of the things that really impacted our overall operating ratio, which is how trucking up, determines, the major KPI of trucking for profitability, was our driver wage increase. We ended up with less miles than we anticipated. Our pay plan is really based on mileage. Now, did we make a bad decision by implementing the, really innovative pay plan? No, we didn't. And there's no regrets about that. Our drivers deserve, every penny that that we can pay them. With that being said, we have to pay for it, right? We have to, have budgets, and we have to, make sure that we perform in a way that I get paid, you get paid, we keep the lights on, all of those kind of things. We did fine in 2024, not great, just to be clear. The 2025, the start of the year, with the weather's been pretty tough, because December was so great. We expect a little bit of drop off, into January. But the first month and a half, I mean, we've had a couple of good weeks, some really tough weeks. It's we'll see what 25 looks like overall. We think that there are indications that the 25 should be better than 24, but we need to really string a few weeks and months together, before we really have that confidence there. Tariffs, I mean, it's there's a lot of concern about what that might do, both Canada and Mexico and obviously overseas. There it's just new administration. It's a little unpredictable, right now. So that's the best information that I can give you. I get the question a lot on what we think on 2025. Our owner operators, we support them, the best we can. We continue to have a hold on bringing in new owner operators. But you're also going to see some emphasis on efficiency that really has not been a part of our culture. I've been here 10 years and we've not really talked about, idle percentage, for example. Idle percentage is a really, really common, KPI. I'm sure for most of you guys at your previous trucking companies probably, had to talk about, your truck idle percentage. We don't talk about that much, but that is something that we need to have some greater awareness of. So you're going to hear more conversation about that, here in the next few months and into 2025. Again, mileage. I mean, that's what keeps trucking, going. We're not a 5,000, 6,000 mile team, mileage operation. But we need to raise our mileage per truck, bit. So you're going to hear some more emphasis on that. Again, all of these things, for to pay for the pay plan, to pay for new trucks. I mean, it's our capex, for new equipment is a pretty hefty one. And all of those things that we continue to do to truly be the leaders in high security transportation. There's a couple of comments and questions. Let me jump on that here. Mel from Chancey. Yes, Chancey is here in the office, with me. You may have heard Brett Kale. What's going on, Brett? Brett was with Tri-State and ATCO for many years, so it's good to hear from you, Brett. Tammy, will there ever be a chance for solo coming back? Yeah, probably eventually. I mean, once in a while we have a need, for a solo, but our solo fleet's been pretty stable. We don't have a lot of turnover in our stable or in our solo fleet. So for the foreseeable future, I see any big volume, for our solo fleet. But every once in a while, we have a specific regional lane or something like that, that we can use a solo. That's sad to hear, Brett. Ron. Grandorfer is a driver that Brett recruited into Tri-State, drove for us for many years, and Brett had a good relationship with. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Brett. Lavelle Marshall, will you fly me out? I'm located in Georgia. I assume that's a recruiting question. Hey, Chase, will you put in our contact info for our recruiting department and Lavelle, get a hold of our recruiting department if you would. So, anyway, it's we do need to. In 2022, when money, everyone's printing money, we didn't have to focus on efficiency as much, right? But the last couple of years, again, I don't want there to be any undue speculation. Please hear me clearly. We are very healthy. We remain profitable. We TFI and Dasky before, we are the road mesh RMG companies, which is Tri-State, ATCO, SJ. I mean, we remain one of the shining star companies of their portfolio, there. But we can be better. We can run a tighter ship, and we continue to improve, and that's what we're going to have some focus on here, in 2025. Like I said, 2022, when we're trying to just get every load we possibly can because our customers are mad that we're not picking up enough freight. I mean, efficiency is not something you focus on, but now when things are a little bit slower, calmer, we can take a breather. We don't have to run at 100 miles per hour, but it also make sure that we stay healthy. We do focus on improvements when we can. So anyway, mentioned our owner operator still on hold. Yeah, I think that's the bulk of what I wanted to share with you guys today. I don't see any other questions or comments. Oh, hold on a second. I know you just Michael Groots, and this said bringing in new owners on hold for the moment. We feel the window will be open in 2025. Again, it's all going to be freight dependent. I hope so. I had that hope in 2024, and it didn't really happen. There it's all freight volumes. You guys will feel it. I mean, it's you guys will see it. You guys will sense it. When the volumes are picking up. There. So, we have a hope. But that's Michael. That's the best I can answer that. Again, I mean, we have a responsibility to our business partners, which our owner operators are. We want to protect them as much as we can, just like we ask them to protect us. There, and so so we can't. We can't put more capacity in, when the freight doesn't support it. Now I get questions. Well, why are you still hiring company drivers? And there's two reasons for that. The main reason is replacement. We continue to have turnover. The other thing that happens, at this time of when freight is manageable, is we really are improving the quality of our fleets. So I don't want to get too much into that, but that gives us an opportunity to look at safety records, to look at operational records, and say, hey, it's we need you to improve, we need you to do better, and most do, and we're able to maintain and preserve long-term relationships. But for those situations where they don't, then we do take the opportunity to make changes, there. But our overall fleet size has grown, the last year and a half or so, but it has reshaped as you've noted. We haven't brought in solos for a while, and that kind of stuff. So anyway, Marciano, this October he'll be a tri-state for 5 years, and 24 is my second best year. No complaints, and that is an interesting thing, Marciano. I mean, it's as you get more experience and more understanding of how we run things, increase your capacity. We'll run you. I mean, we have, like I said, we have plenty of freight to run. For those who want to run, but. But we often do find that complacency comes in as well. And obviously with our guaranteed pay plan, we know the drivers, will try to take advantage of that as well and say, well, if I'm guaranteed pay, I don't have to run very hard. You can try that, but that's like me, coming in with the attitude, well, I get a set paycheck, so I don't have to try very hard, this week. You can float along for a while, but, eventually, I won't have a job if that's my attitude. And, the expectation for all of us is that, if we're paid a fair wage, let's do a fair amount of work, there. But yeah, Marciano, I'm glad that this has, been great for you. And it probably is a tribute to you and, the work that you've put in and just understanding, how to run more efficiently and so forth. So, Chase, thanks for putting in the recruiting, questions here. Okay, Mike, you're at Prime, love it, but have, Yeah, so Mike, in fact, I've got a friend, a close friend, also with Prime, who his brother has been wanting to come over for a bit, there. But yeah, no, Prime's a great company, Michael, and they're not too far from us, here in Tri-States. When we open up, we'd love to get in contact with you. I'm sure recruiters, would keep your name, and everything. Keep following us, but we have a lot of respect for Prime. I think Prime, has a really good owner operator program as well. I'm guessing your freight is really being impacted, your rates and everything, as well. But it's not just Prime. I mean, it's kind of industry wide, there. So, um, anyway. Okay, I think that's the last of the questions, comments. Listen, really appreciate all of you, the work that you're doing. Stay warm, stay safe. This is, just, again, one of those environments where things are fine. I mean, it's, good is the enemy of great, and we're good, and we're going to keep striving for greatness. But really appreciate all of you, and for all of you SJ drivers that are listening. Congratulations on the Eagles Super Bowl. I know in most of the nation, there's a lot of Mahomes and Chiefs fatigue, so there's probably a lot of places that are happy. But here in Joplin, and a lot of our tri-staters. It's a pretty sad Super Bowl, but congratulations to the Eagles, and really appreciate all of you for the work that you do. And please email me or contact me directly for any questions, comments, in the future. Thanks much to everybody. Be safe. Bye.